fewer than 2 people per square mile, Alaska boasts the lowest population density in the country. And for people like Brian Heaphy, that's one of the biggest reasons to live here. After graduating from the Naval Academy and a successful career as a U.S. Navy SEAL, Heaphy needed a change of pace.
The deployments are 6 months long, and I did 3 back-to-back deployments. I felt very fortunate to still be alive at the end of those 5 years.
So after resigning his commission, Heaphy went back to his childhood passion, the great outdoors.
I was very blessed to be able to grow up in a rural area. You know, that was always my draw, to the outdoors, to the wilderness. My father had a good plan for my education and military service, and I honored that, and I think it was a great idea, but it was time to move on.
Heaphy took a job as a river guide in Alaska and loved the wide open spaces and the challenges of living off-grid. And his military experience serves him well when he's on his own in the backcountry.
Preparation, self-discipline, learning to form realistic goals according to the time that you have available.
Chores like this are a standard part of life out here in the Alaskan wilderness. But this is not a pastime or fitness. This is survival. The problem is it comes with its own set of risks, because if you get hurt out here, it's a long way to the nearest hospital. And that means you've got to be extra careful and very meticulous about everything you do.
Where I live now, a little mistake at 60 degrees below zero in the dark can turn into a life-threatening scenario, and it does. Some people call it Murphy's Law. I call it the law of opposition. You know, there's always things working against you.
And survival is all about making the best use of the resources you have available.
So these are high bush cranberries, and the first frosts have come and gone, and the leaves are down, and it's the best time of year to eat these. The longer you wait, the sweeter they get. A little bit tart prior to the first frost. I eat them all year long, but they're great. Nature's Gatorade.
But getting away from civilization doesn't equate to a stress-free life. With winter coming on fast, there's always more to do than time to do it.
Living here in a very austere environment, one of the most unforgiving environments on the planet, I would consider, because of the cold and the darkness and the rapid change of seasons, you begin to learn and focus on economy of time. There's only so many hours in a day. Pretty much everything you have to do is important.
Don't touch the fence. You'll never do it again if you do. This would be, it's about 13,000 volts. And it'll never stop a charging bear, but one that just comes by and is curious, it'll send them packing.
You don't get to turn your mind off. And I'm not saying that's necessarily healthy in a physical sense, but it does add a sense of urgency and intensity and reveal to you what really is important, what really does matter. And a lot of what goes on in the world doesn't matter. Living out in such vast country, you realize how small you are and vulnerable and fragile.
One of my front door keys is a crescent wrench. You'll see I've got the door barred. That's to keep the bears from ripping it off the hinges.
You become very aware. You move with purpose. Not everybody does. I do, because I have no help. Learning to move with purpose, to form a careful plan with each strike of an axe. I'd rather do something well once than have to go back and do it twice when I've got other things to do.
With all the dangers he's confronted in 20 years living in the bush, Heaphy has discovered that nature isn't the biggest threat he faces.
The greatest danger to me is me, if I'm not disciplined and I don't keep God in first place in my life. It's as simple as that.
Brian has learned that by living an intentional life, every chore can become a spiritual act of worship.
Getting wood, hauling water, cooking, cleaning, keeping ahead of the seasonal changes, making sure you're stocked up, equipment maintenance, making sure you're exercising your body, which isn't too hard to do. But I think my life would best be described as the perfection of vital activity. That's what I engage in. How can I become better at any given task at any time to become more efficient, more safe, more productive? And there's a joy in that.
Brian has taken the lessons he's learned living off the grid and put them into devotional form, both with scripture-based greeting cards containing his own photography and in his new book, Crystal Vision.
It's for believers and non-believers alike to consider eternal things.
Ironically, one of the biggest lessons he's learned spending years by himself is the importance of fellowship.
It's good and instructive to have a getaway where you can draw nearer to God, focus on Him, pray that He'll reveal more of His character and to reveal more of His wisdom. But there's no wisdom to having a stay-away lifestyle. You're not part of the solution. You don't grow. You know, fellowship is a huge part of the Christian walk. We're strengthened by our brothers and sisters, and if they're true friends and brothers and sisters, they're going to help point out where we might be slipping a little bit, where there may be sin in our life that we don't notice.
With that in mind, Brian makes a point of reaching out to friends, both locally and online, and in so doing, he feels like he has the best of both worlds.
My initial purpose in going outside and striking out on my own and developing this life, I had a general idea of what I wanted, but you know, there's that old saying, make your plans in pencil and give God the eraser. I'm so thankful He took that eraser and rearranged some of my priorities, but it all worked together beautifully.